Hello everyone. Today we are going to understand the book that is The Prince, written by Niccolo Machiavelli in 16th century. He talks about the leadership quality of a prince and provide advices on how to acquire, maintain and create a state. In this video, we are going to cover chapter 9 to chapter 17. Chapter 9, that is concerning a civil principality. What is the civil principality is? Leading citizen become the prince of a country by the favor of his fellow citizen. It is called civil principality. It means that by the support of fellow citizen, a citizen became a prince. It is known as civil principality. Further, he talks about the quality of a prince. He should possess one quality, that is happy shrewdness. That is the quality or the power of making judgments, making right judgments. He further talks about the position. Prince attained his position either by the favor of nobles or people. Because in cities we saw two distinct parties, that is nobles and people. People not wish to be ruled or oppressed by nobles, but nobles want to oppress and rule the people. Hence, we found three results, that is principality, self-government and anarchy. Either people or noble want to make prince in favor of them so that they can easily bend to their ambitions. It means that if a person does not attain the position of a prince, so he wants to favor his people or the community of people to attain that position so that their desires and ambitions were met. According to him, noble maintain himself with more difficulty because around him many people are there, which are equal to them. But if person attain the position by popular sovereignty, no one is around him. So he can rule and manage things accordingly. For prince, support of noble is not necessary because they are few and mainly motivated by self-interest, and they can ultimately gain power if their desires are not met. It means that he talks about that favor of people is necessary, but the favor of noble is not necessary because favor of nobles are meant by self-interest. If their desires and their ambitions are not met, they can grab your position when things become accordingly. For prince, support of people is necessary because it can make him a strong position, and they are large in number because people are less ambitious and always seek protection, and it is easier to meet their desires than of nobles. Nobles should be dealt with two ways. He talks about that there are two types of nobles, one who binds with good fortune and other not. So first one should be dealt with love and honor, and second one should ruin you at any time. So you have to fear them and maintain a strong distance with them. If a prince came in the position by the favor of people, then his first work is to make people friendly and do not oppress them. If prince came in the position by the favor of noble, so it is also the first work for him to make people friendly and do not oppress them. So people will omit and honor him because they were expecting evil, and prince can win their affections in many ways. So prince to have the people friendly, otherwise he has no security and adversity. It means that in difficult times he have no one, and so according to Machiavelli, favor of people is necessary, but the prince should possess some qualities within, that is who can command man of courage, undismayed in adversity. It means he does not lose hope in difficult times, does not fail. By his resolution and energy, keeps the people encouraged so that he can lay his foundation well. So at last, he talked about that in troubled times, prince should be faithful to its citizen so that he can find them faithful in his difficult circumstances. Coming to the chapter 10, that is concerning the way in which the strength of all principalities ought to be measured. In this chapter, he distinguishes two powers of prince, that is, prince who can support himself with his own resources, that is, money or man, and second one is dependent principalities who depend on other foreign powers for their resources and men. He also stated that prince should fortify their towns and manage resources of other concerns of his subject so that their state will never be attacked without greater caution. By regarding this line, he talks about the example of cities in Germany. At last, he talked about that powerful king will overcome all difficulties by giving hope to its citizen, that the evil will not be for too long. Coming to the chapter 11, that is concerning ecclesiastical principalities. Here, ecclesiastical means that is belonging to the Christian church. These principalities are unique because these principalities are governed by pope or priest, supported by authority of the church. Machiavelli points out that these principalities are easy to maintain and once acquired because they rely on ancient religious institutions and beliefs that are deeply rooted in society. He also argues that ecclesiastical rulers do not need to defend their territories or make difficult political situations or decisions like secular ones. He also talked about the stability of principality. Here, the stability of principality is due to faith. And he also emphasizes that these principalities rely on religious framework, which make somewhat resistant to innovation or political manipulation. Leaders influenced by religious dogma, they are still subject to the will of divine, hence which limits direct control of prince. So in this principality, there is no direct control of prince. And people are mostly focused on divine religious institutions. Coming to the chapter 12, how many kinds of soldiery there are and concerning mercenaries. Machiavelli distinguished between four types of armies, that is, mercenaries, auxiliaries, national armies, and mixed troops. He believed that mercenaries and auxiliaries are useless and dangerous. Mercenaries are not safe because they lack loyalty and will often destroy or betray their employer at the moment of greatest need. Hence, mercenaries are the armies that are rented and paid by the prince. He talked about the example of Italy. Italy faced destruction because are entirely dependent on mercenaries. Mercenary captains are either capable or they are not. If they are not, you cannot trust them because they always leave you in the greatest need or trying to oppress you. And experience has shown princes and republics single-handedly making the greatest progress and mercenaries doing nothing except damage. Why mercenaries are danger? Firstly, they are unreliable, and secondly, they are lack of loyalty. Machiavelli strongly prefers that prince should possess national armies that is composed of a prince's own subjects as the most reliable and effective means of defense. He argued that prince should secure his state by national troops because they have a genuine interest in defending their homeland. because because they also want the success of their homeland. Machiavelli believes that control over one's own military is essential to maintaining power and stability in a principality. Let's come to the chapter 30, that is concerning auxiliaries, mixed soldiery, and one's own. Auxiliary are the armies that is required for extra help. Uh, in this chapter, Machiavelli explain auxiliaries or mercenaries by the example of Caesar Borgia. Caesar Borgia entered Romagna with auxiliaries. He captured Imola and Forli, but afterwards he didn't found them reliable. He turned to mercenaries, whom afterwards he found them doubtful, unfaithful, and dangerous. He destroyed and turned to his own men. He found his position increasing. He was never esteemed more highly than when everyone saw that he was complete master of his own forces. For him, auxiliary troops are borrowed from another ruler. That is, they are not directly loyal to the prince, but rather to the state or ruler who provided them. He argued that they can be become more dangerous than enemies if they win. Then he further talked about mixed troops. For him, it is a combination of auxiliary and mercenary and national forces. However, it is less dangerous and than alone military and auxiliary, but they might betray or abandon the prince if a more profitable opportunity arises. Machiavelli insists that the best and the most reliable army are the one. Coming to the chapter 14, that is that which concerns us a prince on the subject of the art of war. Machiavelli argues that for a prince to maintain power and secure his state, he must have a deep understanding of warfare, that is, actions and theory. Machiavelli described that primary focus of any prince should be warfare. He described it as the sole art a prince needs to understand deeply. And it is seen that when a prince thought more of ease than of arms, they will destroy or lost their states. He further added that peaceful times are for preparations. The prince should use peaceful times to strengthen his military forces, improve fortifications, and keep soldiers well trained and disciplined. A prince should study historical battles and campaigns to learn from past successes and failures so he can avoid the same mistakes. He also added that geographical study of his particular state is necessary to be better able to understand or undertake its defense. Lack of knowledge will lack the desirable skill of captain should possess. Machiavelli argues that a strong military reputation is essential for maintaining power. This reputation can also prevent revolts within a prince's territory. For Machiavelli, the art of war is not just about defense, but also a means for a prince to achieve glory and expand his influence. Let's come to the chapter 15, that is concerning things for which men and especially princes are praised or blamed. Machiavelli emphasizes that while it is ideal for a ruler to possess virtuous qualities are good qualities. It is not always practical in the harsh realities of political life. Machiavelli explains that qualities like mercy, honesty, and generosity are often praised, but they can harm a ruler if taken to the extreme or practiced unwisely. Thus, a prince should balance between good with being practical, using vice and virtue. Thus, a prince should balance between good qualities and bad qualities by using vice and virtue. So he have to adapt his behavior according to the moment or need of the moment. Even it is even it is meant by being dishonest or ruthless. I explained this whole chapter by quoting an example of Steve Jobs. That is, Steve Jobs, known for his visionary leadership and ability to inspire innovation. However, he could be ruthless in business, often prioritizing product successes over personal relationships or traditional business. Machiavelli also stresses that being good is effective, but you have to balance good qualities with bad qualities. Excessive goodness will be harmful, and excessive badness will also be harmful. Coming to the chapter 16, that is concerning liberality and meanness. In this chapter, he talks about delicate balance between liberality and meanness. Liberality can be termed also as generosity. His views on liberality are, that is, a prince who is generous or liberal may be praised for his goodwill towards his subject, but he warns that excessive generosity can have harmful consequences. That is, the prince will quickly exhaust his wealth, so it leads to increase in tax or acquired the wealth of his subjects. Eventually, it burdens the people and which may ultimately jeopardize his power. In this, here Machiavelli quoted the example of Pope Julius II. On meanness, he believed that it is far more sustainable than liberality. Although initially it make the prince unpopular, but over time people will respect him because he does not pose excessive tax and threat to his subjects. However, he is not advocating for complete selfishness or cruelty. Rather, he suggests that a ruler should be cautious and deliberate in how he spends his wealth. For Machiavelli, a ruler must be concerned with practical results than a moral ideals. In essence, Machiavelli believed that ends justify the means. If being means ensures long-term stability and control, then it is preferable than liberty, which may lead to ruin. He also mentioned that prince should maintain liberal with the resources that do not belong to him. However, when it comes to his own finances, the prince should always remain mean. So, at end, he justified that meanness is sustainable than liberality. But if liberality become excessive, it will be harmful, and if state filled with whole cruelty and selfishness, it will become harmful in long run. Coming to the chapter 17, that is concerning cruelty and clemency, and whether it is better to be loved than feared. Machiavelli argues that while it is ideal for a prince to be loved and feared both, but it is safer to be feared than loved if one cannot achieve both. So he put fear over love. He also claimed that excessive clemency leads to disorder in a state, and people take advantage of a ruler's behavior and kindness. And cruelty should be applied wisely and effectively. So he talks about fear versus love. He believed that people are mean. They have the quality of cruelty, dishonest, mercy. If ruler focused on love, that in favorable time he found loyalty out of love. But in difficult times, self-interest tends to prevail. He believed that it is more reliable motivator. It is sustained by the threat of punishment. That is, fear is sustained by the threat of punishment, which keeps people in line. He also talked about balanced cruelty. which can turn the subjects against the ruler. And last, Machiavelli concludes that a prince should aim to fear then love, but must avoid being hate to prevent rebellion. So, at last, I want to conclude by saying that fear plus respect for authority is equals to more stable and effective ruler. So, he talks about fear over love, but also concludes that love should be maintained, but fear should not be excessive that it become hate. If become hate, it tends to rebel among subjects or citizens against ruler. Thank you.